Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. Glad you've joined us. This is the only show in the metro area that talks about real estate and construction, business expansion, really anything related to Omaha becoming bigger, more vibrant, more prosperous. Without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my co-host, legendary real estate deal maker in the flesh, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning to you.
Happy Farmer's Day.
Is it Farmer's Day?
Yes, it is Farmer's. I don't know if you guys knew that.
My father-in-law is a farmer.
Yeah, there you go.
In southwest Minnesota.
Now you know who to thank.
Well, I will do that. And, obviously agriculture is a big part of what we have going on
He'll
around
probably
here.
be like, what?
Yes, I'm sure he has no idea, but we'll appreciate it nonetheless. Hey, we have a restaurant review this week. All of our restaurant reviews are sponsored by All Makes, located about 25th and Farnham Street in beautiful downtown Omaha. The Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review sponsored by All Makes this week is Ude Lali, and Chris Corey reviews it. And I tell you what, I've not tried it yet, but after reading the review, I definitely want to.
Udalali has a great mission, but it's also got a great product, and it's where what was it, Mark's?
Yeah, Mark's Bistro.
Mark's Bistro was, and they have some of the products. I think it was the chicken lasagna or something like that. And
well, I think they were famous for the lobster mac and cheese.
That too.
When it was Mark's, and that has survived. And then there's a real cool place on the lower level called Labo, and I pronounced that right, Labo. And everything, it's fantastic. And the mission is to rehabilitate and help former prisoners get re-entered into society and restart their careers in a very healthy way. And from all indications, as a guy who hasn't tried it but who read the review, they're doing a great job of it. And the place really stands on its own merit.
And I like to help out our listeners. Just so you know, I learned the hard way that when you're dining at Udalali, they don't have name tags or what they're in for or anything like that. So whatever you do, don't say what were you in for. And
probably a good question to avoid.
I kid.
Let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Been in the business for more than 30 years. If you want to stop by their office, 114th and Davenport, easy to find, or just go to eaglemortgagecompany.com. Doesn't matter whether you're looking for a conventional FHA, VA loan. They do some of the specialty loans as well. The most important thing is they take good care of you. Very, very client-focused. And as a mortgage broker, they're not a bank. They're not beholden to one bank. They can shop the market and find the best lending situation for you. So if you're thinking about buying a house, one of the first things you want to do is contact Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com.
I don't know about you, Jeff, but my neighborhood, it seems like more neighbors are moving out. And I don't know if it's just me, but there's more signs that go up. I don't know if the rates are coming down.
I have not noticed that in my neighborhood, so it could be just kind of a quirk of one neighborhood at one time.
The mean streets of West Omaha.
You never know, but I do know that while mid to late fall tends to be a slower time for residential moves, it's not a bad time, and sometimes it's good to be counter-cyclical a little bit when you're making decisions.
I'm very excited. Cheers to the crew. Kudos. That the expansion of 168th Street from Center Street to Q Street, it's going great.
Yeah, it's supposed to be done by the end of the year, and really there's only one segment of pavement that remains, and they already have the rebar in place for it. It looks
pouring
like
it today.
Were they pouring it already today? Okay. Well, there's another big project happening today, and that is an extension of the tower crane over the Mutual of Omaha future headquarters site. That thing will go up by another 100 feet today. And I wanted to go by this morning to maybe catch it in action so we could have a good photo for Grow Omaha project of the day. And this morning before the show, they weren't quite ready. They had the 5 20-foot segments there, and it looks like they should be extending that at any time.
Our friend Brad Williams watches that closely.
Hopefully you'll get a photograph. Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium is raising money for a 32,000 square foot veterinary hospital. It'll be located near the Asian Highlands exhibit. No date has been announced publicly for the start of construction. Current hospital is 30 years old. This one at 32,000 square feet would be pretty impressive size. And it's my understanding that in addition to medical care, veterinary care, there would also be some meeting space and education space and this sort of thing.
Just like humans, the animals are getting bigger.
Mayor Stothert, U.S. Congressman Don Bacon, and members of the Blackstone Business Improvement District yesterday held an announcement for the Harney Streetscape Plan. This will be an effort to really not only make Harney Street more attractive, but more importantly, make it safer and more pedestrian focused. Part of this was a $2 million federal community funding project grant. It also requires a $500,000 local match, which the Blackstone District or Business Improvement District is working on and doing fundraising for. But the idea here, Trenton, is to reduce traffic speeds, better traffic signals, wider sidewalks, and then while Harney will remain one way, it's going to go from 3 lanes one direction to 2. And they refer to this as a road diet. Have you heard that phrase before?
No,
Okay.
I've heard of food deserts.
A road diet. And we've seen some road diets in Omaha lately. This is where you take a street and you put it on a diet. It gets a little thinner. And a classic case of a road diet was Harney Street a couple years ago through the Blackstone District. That had been 3 lanes west, one-way west. People would go way too fast through there if you wanted to create this really cool mixed-use walkable district that we have right now. So instead, they put in a turn lane, 1 lane of traffic each way, parallel parking. It's a road diet. And you don't want to do this everywhere because some places you need traffic to move very quickly.
You'll get a bottleneck.
Exactly. But if you are trying to create a special place where people feel very comfortable walking and you have people getting a beer and walking with an ice cream and cone and all that sort of thing, a road diet like what they're talking about Harney, it makes a lot of sense.
And I've got a building for sale right at 2909 Harney, the EB and Sons painting, about 4,000 square feet. If anybody's looking to buy a building, maybe a man or woman cave or a person cave, right there by the on-ramp. So it'll be interesting to see what Harney does. They've closed the bike path in order to do the construction for the streetcar.
Yeah, long-term plan, though, the bike path will come back, and it will run on Harney Street from 10th to 17th. Then at 17th, it'll jog a block north and then go out the rest of the way to the Med Center area via Farnham Street. But anyway, that whole corridor is on its way, I don't think it's a stretch to say this, toward becoming the coolest corridor in the city, period. Like when you think about a few years from now, you'll have the streetcar there, mostly on Farnham, but in the downtown proper, it'll also be partly on the Harney corridor as well. But you'll have that there. And already, like I was just walking, I had a lunch meeting on Farnham Street in the Blackstone District this week. And after lunch, I took a long walk. I walked down to the Med Center West Campus, then back east all the way to Midtown Crossing, just did a big long loop. And you can already see all that activity there in so many places, but you ain't seen nothing yet because you're going to have so much more going into that area. And I think it'll be kind of this long linear path of activity, probably, day and night.
I just saw that 25th and Farnham, right next to Olmecs, is Site One Brewing that now has Backlot Pizza.
Yeah, so the owners of Backlot Pizza and the ACX 12 Theater, Exarban Cinema, the Barstow family, friends of ours, they have invested in that business, and Site One Brewing is definitely back up and running. 2566 Farnham Street, if we want to be specific. Yep. And then the Barstow family and the existing owners of that business have some good plans for expansion.
Very excited about that.
Well, we had some big news coming out of Midtown. We were just talking about the Harney Street streetscape project, but also we now have a name for the 30-acre district that the University of Nebraska Medical Center is developing primarily west of Saddle Creek Road. It's called the Edge District, and the E, D, G, and E and Edge all stand for things that we don't necessarily need to get into, but this is a very, very a special thing that is happening there. Already a few projects are well underway. The catalyst is the redevelopment of the former Omaha Steel Castings plant that goes back to 1906. That's 170,000 square feet. And then we have steel beams going up for the Campus Operations and Research Excellence building. This is right on the corner of Farnham and Saddle Creek. That'll be part administrative, part laboratory. And then finally, a 750-stall parking garage is now underway in that area. But there's going to be an awful lot more than just those three buildings.
Are they still doing the grassy walkway?
Oh, you're talking about the lid over. Yeah. That's a long-term possibility, but not in any of the concrete plans right now. So the $2.2 billion hospital, which will be probably one of the tallest buildings in the city, and by square footage, maybe the biggest building by square footage, unless there's some warehouse somewhere that's bigger, a couple million feet. But that'll all be on the southeast corner. And then they're using a series of skywalks, attractive, but nothing like the that whole idea of the lid.
Is that part of the next project, or is it the precursor to the next project?
It's all part of it. They're calling the hospital right now Project Health, but basically, if you look at a rendering, and we put this on the Grow Omaha website and social media, you see probably, if you count them, 10 buildings on the rendering that don't yet exist. So the plans are enough to make you dizzy. There's so much planned for that area. But I think, getting this project named and draws a little more attention to it, and it'll move forward. Also, one other thing that was kind of fun to mention, WWT ran an article within the last couple of days about the building that housed Rathskeller Beer House. Uh-huh. Okay, so Rathskeller unfortunately closed. They had a hard time with all that
construction.
Also
Three Cheers.
Yeah, it was Three Cheers back in the day. That goes back. Yeah, that goes back to our youth. But anyway, Rath House, sadly, it's gone because it was a great place to get German beers, and I used to love going there. But the building of Rathskeller goes back to 1891. And according to Preserve Omaha, is very historically significant. There are only 4 or 5 buildings in town that meet whatever criteria or category it happens to reside in. Anyway, the Med Center plans to keep that. And if you look at the renderings, you see like 4 to 6 story buildings all over that area, and the little Rathskeller Beer House.
What do they want to do with it?
Keep it as a restaurant bar. You're going to have already, the Med Center is the biggest concentration of jobs in the state. And now we're adding a whole bunch of residents to the campus. And so you need to have those amenities there, and it probably makes sense. Plus, it's historically significant.
As long as they do a good job wayfinding. If you use one of those hospitals or something like that, you need to know where to go. Well,
yeah, because it certainly is a labyrinth. But I would say they do a pretty good job with that, both in the building and for drivers outside. But they'll need even more of it. Well, that's your news of the week, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. We're going to take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to bring on former Union Pacific CEO Lance Fritz. He is the chair of Building Omaha's Future, a committee that is working on 6 bond issues that appear on your November 5th ballot. Really important stuff. We're going to talk about that, including plans to expand the CHI Health Center Omaha and a few other things with Lance. So stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics. Dingman's is the company you want to keep in mind if you get a little bit of a fender bender, scratch, bump, or even something more serious from a major accident. They take really good care of you, and they have 4 metro area locations. Everything is overseen personally by the Dingman family. Trenton and I know them very well, have a lot of respect for them, and strongly recommend you choose Dingman's Collision Center if you need any auto body work.
They have a big announcement coming up.
Yeah, they do.
They haven't been authorized yet, but they're going to have a new location, I bet.
A 5th location. Yeah. Sure. Someone here represents them. All right, we have with us former Union Pacific CEO Lance Fritz, who is currently leading the Building Omaha's Future Committee, and we want to talk a little bit with Lance about 6 bond issues that will appear on your November 5th ballot. First of all, Lance, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Jeff and Trenton, thank you very much for hosting me. This is a great opportunity for us.
Well, thank you. It's an honor for us, too, and we appreciate you working with the Chamber and other partners and stakeholders in the committee for this effort to get these bond issues. And maybe the best way to start is for you to kind of give us the 30,000-foot view of what will appear on the ballot.
Yeah, so November 5th, voters are going to see 6 bond issues that we are asking them to approve. The bond issues fund all kinds of different projects in Omaha, from enhancing parks to enhancing sewers and flood control to continuing the work on improving streets that started in 2020, to building new street projects, to building a new downtown combined fire and police station, buying new emergency equipment for emergency responders, and enhancing and growing the CHI Health Center. It's really important to note that these are normal course of business bonds. The city needs to float bonds to match capital availability with big capital projects. That doesn't happen with tax receipts, right? Tax receipts come in, based on timing of people paying them. Projects happen when you need to make projects happen. So these happen normal course. City goes out and does them about every 4 years, and this just happens to be the time. This has nothing to do with tax. This will not change people's taxes in any way. This is just a city being able to fundamentally fund its projects.
And so the citizens, the voters vote for this, that we approve these, let's say, which I think will happen, and thank you for coming on. And these projects, a lot of these, like the CHI Center, Health Center, actually brings in revenue. And this is to get more events and more people bringing their conventions and everything else here, right?
Yeah, Trenton, the CHI Health Center is a real jewel. And it was wonderful when it was first constructed. Very competitive with cities like, Des Moines or Minneapolis or, name it, Kansas City. Because other cities have invested over time in the last, call it, couple of decades since the CHI has been in place, we've fallen a bit behind. And now we're not as competitive in attracting conventions and events. So what we're proposing is to enhance meeting space. It puts us back, middle of the pack, top, call it third of the pack, so that we can attract what we think is about another $1.2 billion in convention business in the next 10 years. And that has great tax flow into the city.
So, Lance, some people might say, hey, we hear that Mecca and the CHI Health Center Omaha support itself, and there's even a surplus with operating budget. If that's the case, why do we need to have a bond issue to expand it? Can you explain that to folks?
It's a great question, Jeff, and I think it is confusing to some voters. The CHI Health Center is owned by the city. It's run by Mecca, and it does provide money back into the city's coffers. But it doesn't have the wherewithal, and Mecca can't float bonds on its own account. So when they do a big capital project like this one, they need the city to float the bond so the project can happen. And then after the expansion, the increased dollars flow back to the city.
This is about $110 million for this one, or how big is it?
Well, the bond is asking for $100 million. It's going to be matched by $100 million of philanthropic money. So the whole project
private
is
money,
private money,
stakeholders' money, which Omaha is very well known for.
100%.
Okay, and globally, these projects will unlock a lot of other federal money and other philanthropists to step forward, right?
Yeah. So, for instance,
not only does it not raise taxes.
Yeah, right. But the street bond is looking for the neighborhood of $80 million to do some street projects. That unlocks federal funds. The federal funds are not available unless there's a local match contributed to make the project to go.
Great.
So going back to the CHI Health Center Omaha, assuming everything goes well and the bonds pass and the $100 million in philanthropic funds materialize, what are we seeing for that project? I mean, when do you think it might get started? And
yeah, great question. So that'll be all up to Mecca and the city in terms of the timing. I know Mecca would like to get it done sooner as opposed to later, because what happens in that industry is event planners are looking out, a year, 2, 3 years, And so every year that goes by, every quarter that goes by that CHI Health Center doesn't meet the needs of event planners is a year and 2 years from now missed business. So we need to get that in place as soon as we can.
So two of the bonds, one is street preservation at $72 million, and another is transportation at about $81 million. What would be the difference between street preservation and transportation? Because it's all transportation.
Yeah, street preservation continues the projects that were started in 2020. Remember, that was an initiative by Mayor Stothert to
$200 million.
To enhance and improve our city streets. This is the continued iteration of that. And I know that can be, frustrating to drivers to see all the construction that's underway. The end result's fabulous.
Right. I can't wait.
Yeah. All the streets that are completed, they're fabulous. They work wonderfully.
Well, and we have to realize, too, Lance, that this is a city that's growing faster than it historically did. And, there's a lot of activity here, and you have to expand the infrastructure if you're going to have that growth.
100%. You have to invest capital in order to enable growth. The other street initiatives are new projects, building new things, a new bridge, et cetera.
Okay, so if someone wants to learn more specifics about the 6 bond issues, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, best way to go is buildingomahasfuture.com. buildingomahasfuture.com. You go there, you'll see in very plain language exactly what's being asked through the bonds. You can ask questions. There's a phone number. There's also a chat that you can get into if you want to be more informed, things that you don't see. I can't say enough that these are critically important to the city, and I'm encouraging every voter to vote yes on them, understanding it won't do a thing to your taxes, and it enables projects that continue to make Omaha safe and fun and thriving and growing.
And no matter where you live and what you do, you'll benefit from these.
100%. It really doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in. North Omaha, South Omaha, West Omaha, middle of the city, there's something in these for everybody. Even CHI Health Center. You might be in West O thinking, what the hell does that do for me? What it does for you is it enhances the ability for Omaha to attract business, increase tax revenue, and that lowers the burden on all of us.
And increases our quality of life. And Lance, we really appreciate your leadership in this effort. And thank you for joining us this morning. Just kind of give us an overview of what this is all about.
Yeah, well, so it's in the wheelhouse, ultimately, of your radio show, right? Grow Omaha.
Right.
These bond issues are all about growing Omaha. This effort is about making a November ballot a little less scary and a little less complex for voters. Because it's a big ballot, and we recognize that.
And just so everybody knows, just because there's a couple initiatives about medical marijuana use and things like that, that has nothing to do with Grow Omaha. and if they ever legalize marijuana, we are not selling the name. So growomaha.com is untouchable, at least for the unforeseeable future.
I think he says that because when we first founded the show 21 years ago, there was a Grow America that was like some pro-marijuana cider. But anyway, not to be on too big of a tangent, Lance, Fritz, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, guys. It's a real pleasure.
That's former Union Pacific CEO and chairman of Building Omaha's Future, Lance Fritz. Going to take our middle of the show break for the news. And when we come back, we have our Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight and a few more news items for you. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot are with you. We are in the KFAB studio high above Underwood Avenue in beautiful downtown Dundee. We're brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center. Cheer Athletics happens to be the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. All-star cheer 2028 Olympics, it's going to be part of the deal. It's an Olympic sport starting in 2028. Very athletic, and All-Star Cheer is a great way for kids to be physically fit, learn all of the life skills that come with competition, and compete at a very high level. If you want to get involved with that, what did you say, Trenton?
And gain confidence.
Confidence is a big part of the deal. And if you want to get your kids involved in cheer athletics, just go to caomaha.com. That's caomaha.com. All right, we got some cool news in your Noddle Company's Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. We got a new restaurant coming to Exarban Village. But first, you should know that Noddle Companies is the premier real estate developer in town, but not just in town. They do work all over the country, headquartered here in Omaha. And in Omaha, they're famous for Exarban Village, the Builders District in North Downtown, big projects like that where Noddle Companies creates places and spaces. But they've, done a lot of headquarters buildings. Valmont World headquarters, HDR World headquarters are two of the more recent ones they've done. But Noddle Companies really does outstanding work. And they're also very community focused, supporting the community and taking care of the city they love, Omaha. So you can find out more about them at noddlecompanies.com.
Mention Grow Omaha, and Noddle Companies will give you $10 off your next development over $3 million.
Yeah, they'll just bill it through to Trenton. So Crispy Burger is the news. Crispy Burger has opened next to Freezing Rolled Ice Cream at 1918 South 67th Street in Exarban Village. Now, the name is Crispy Burger, and they have burgers.
But it's a chicken place.
I say the name's a bit misleading because they're really famous for their crispy Asian fried chicken. And this is the first location anywhere in this part of the country. The other Crispy Burgers are in the New York City area, in the state of Vermont. There's one in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So this one's kind of the outlier out here away from the East Coast. I popped in last Sunday when I was doing my Grow Omaha driving tour. I had already had lunch, so unfortunately didn't get to try it, but I can tell you it smelled really good, and it's attached to freezing. And then, so this place this is the one that had the boba tea sign above it. And it's my understanding that boba tea will still be available in freezing ice cream or crispy burger fried chicken. And anyway, give it a try. It's a cool place. I talked to the owner, nice guy, and looks like it'll be a nice addition to the Exarban lineup.
No, I'm excited for it. I'm also excited to try chicken over at the Trax Lounge. I am one of those people that have never been there.
Oh, really? Yeah, you'll have to do it now. Of course,
60th. You never taken? What was it? Did it used to be called Trackside?
Yeah, Trackside. Yeah, Trackside. Yeah, I remember going there as a kid.
Everybody calls it Trax now.
Well, they changed the name.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed the name and different ownership, but yet Trax still says they've been around for 60 years. So I think they're counting those Trackside years. But great place, great fried chicken there, and they're opening a Western location next year, early next year, not far from 180th and Q. Got a couple other news items for you today, just to kind of have in the back of your mind. Omaha Christian Academy and Lifegate Christian School are teaming up to open a new Christian high school. It'll actually be in an office building. If you have been by I-680 and West Maple, you probably have noticed a 3 to 4 story building up on the hill southwest of the interchange. It's called the Emerald Building, very much a landmark. The actual address is 2425 North 108th Street. So it's basically southwest of
That's who bought the building at the auction?
680 and West Maple Road. Don't know anything about that other than the fact that I don't know how they bought it or where they bought it, but they bought it. And they are also acquiring an adjoining 20 acres for athletic fields. So we're going to have a new high school. 2025 academic year, which is just less than a year from now. Plan is to open with 200 students and eventually grow it to 600. They do want to stay a Class B high school.
So it'll be a high school.
That's right. I said high school. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that Class B is probably a good thing because there's been a lot of controversy in Class A football lately because you're getting some of these super schools like Millard South and West Side, and I think Bellevue West has been one of those with their football teams. And poor Lincoln High came up to Buell Stadium this week to play Millard South. They were down 63-0 at halftime and forfeited.
Really?
Yeah. Millard South and West Side are these schools like kids are coming from all over the metro area, and no one can touch these teams unless you're another one of these.
Is that a rule, like a 7-run rule or something? Or
no.
did they just chose to do it?
They chose to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure they had their good reasons, but some people are calling them quitters.
Well, that land next to Emerald Point for this new Christian school, that land was, I think, owned by CHI for a long time.
That's correct.
And so it'll be put to good use.
And then demolition is taking place, pretty much done, on 2 Midtown sites southwest of the Med Center. Workers have demolished a vacant laundromat on the southeast corner of 50th and Leavenworth to make way for a 4-story apartment building there with 53 units. And then not far away at Saddle Creek Road and Pacific Street, south of a Baker's Supermarket, if you can picture that in the area, demolition is wrapping up on a couple of commercial buildings there, real big apartment building with some commercial space going into that area. And with that, I think we better take our final break of the hour.
Yes, sir.
And you know what that means. When we come back, it's time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. I'm looking at the list, and there's a lot on it. So you don't want to miss it. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Geez, Jim, that's a long promo you got there. All right, back to Grow Omaha. It's time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a really short period of time. Thanks to Perkins Kreitzer Construction for making this possible. They are a full-service Class A general contractor. They serve the entire area, does Perkins Kreitzer Construction. Lincoln, Council Bluffs, up to Sioux City, out to North Platte and environs. Do a great job. Dave Kreitzer, our buddy, runs the place, does an outstanding job. He has tons of experience in the business. And they do everything, from office buildings to retail centers to churches to warehouses. And we love talking about the restaurants they do, because you may have noticed that one of the most frequent topics we have on the Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round is new restaurant openings and some closings today. So we like to talk about some of the restaurant work they're doing. I drove by the old Boston Market in Miracle Hills yesterday, which Perkins Kreitzer Construction is renovating into an Hawaiian Brothers location. Work has already started.
That's a great product.
Yep, they had a big dumpster outside. There were workers coming in and out of the building. So PC Construction will be turning that dead Boston Market into a Hawaiian Brothers before you can even know it, before you can blink an eye. And you can find out more about Perkins Kreitzer Construction at p-cconstruction.com. Whew, here we go. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Jam's Old Market is going to temporarily move to the Mouth of the South space next door. Now,
Recently closed.
What was that?
You're about to say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mouth of the South closed rather suddenly. Now, just the Old Market location. They are keeping the West Omaha location open.
Which is good eating.
And especially that bread pudding.
Oh, my gosh.
But Jam's, the Jam space, which is right on the corner there of 11th and Harney, that is going to go through some extensive HVAC renovations. When that's done, Jam's will go back into their space from the Mouth of the South space, and that should happen in November. Early Bird has opened its location near 170-something and West Center Road. You want to know how I know?
Signs up?
No, I had breakfast there this morning.
How was it?
It was pretty good.
I think that's been a few different things. It was
most recently Tanner's,
and then it was Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
It was built out to be Famous Dave's.
Oh, that's right. I remember that was the Famous Dave's. I forgot about that. Anyway, it's an Early Bird now. Now we have another breakfast place that has opened not far from Early Bird on Far West Center, and that is Good Lookin'. It has opened at 16920 Wright Plaza, which is basically southwest of 168th and Center. It's in the former Austin's Steakhouse location. It is a breakfast and lunch restaurant. The original location is right here in downtown Dundee, 4919 Underwood, so there are now 2 of those. Trenton, we have a Mexican restaurant coming to 142nd and Fort. The name is Casa Jalisco. It is in Standing Bear Plaza, family-owned restaurant set to open this fall. We do not yet have an exact opening date.
Is that where Foreign Taste was? Must be.
Maybe that is their space, because I know Foreign Taste went out of business. A lot of people love that area because Dragon Walk is up there, and Dragon Walk's really popular. So, yeah, it's really close to Dragon Walk. It probably is Foreign Taste.
Yep.
Good call. We're going to just assume that's the truth until we find out otherwise. Wukong restaurant is going into the former Coco's Korean Fried Chicken space near Super Target at 180th and West Center Road. The restaurant will serve hot pot, hibachi, poke bowls, and desserts. Tentative opening date set in November. We have a new coffee shop coming to La Vista. It is called Las Chilenas. It will also be a bakery. The actual address is 8064 South 84th Street. The business describes itself as having a cozy atmosphere, delicious coffee options, and a variety of desserts and empanadas that will delight your palate.
I don't think you can hit 25% of the restaurants in your lifetime if you really try. Maybe Stacy Winters.
Stacy Winters could probably do it. Chris Corey could probably do it. He's the guy that reviews restaurants for us at Grow Omaha. All right, Gunderson's Jewelers has opened its big flagship store in Heartwood Preserve. The actual address is 102 North 145th Street. This is southwest of 144th and Dodge. This is a 25,000 square foot jewelry store.
You know what that means?
What does it mean?
That we have their 3,500 square foot temporary store at 132nd and Center for lease.
Oh, that's the place that
By
Gunderson's
Plus, yeah.
had been occupying between Village Point and the new center. Okay.
Beautiful space.
And you have that listed?
Yes.
Okay. Contact Trenton Maggin.
And John Meyer.
Trenton.Maggin at npdodge.com. Anyway, this new Gunderson's, 25,000 square feet. It's a newly constructed two-story building. They consider this kind of their flagship location. It's just west of Charleston's and Mahogany in Heartwood Preserve. Gunderson's is based in Sioux City, Iowa. And this is, like Trenton just indicated, the relocated Village Point store.
Big Rolex dealer.
Izzy's Pizza has pulled out of its plans to open a second location in the former Nobby's building at Bel Air Plaza, 120th and Center. That building is being converted into prehistoric putt. Izzy's was going to be in there.
They backed up the bus.
And now they're not. Nothing bad. They just want to focus on their other businesses. All right, the music's playing, which means we are finito. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggin.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Perkins Kreitzer Construction, Cheer Athletics, and Dingman's Collision Center. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.